Dummy Switch Pod. The boys are
Yes,
back. How are you,
sir.
Chris?
Oh, quarters. I'm feeling like 33-7. I'm feeling good, man. How you doing?
Good myself, good myself. Good victory. The Dan Carters of podcasting here
Uh-huh.
to give you our opinions, our flagrant takes. Yeah, you can share your opinions as well in the comment section, and a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about. You can catch us here. You
Mm,
can catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and let's start. We'll get to this weekend's results, the victory that was. Let's talk
yeah.
news of the day. Bok team released.
Mm.
Yeah, a lot to talk about here. 10 changes, a
Yeah.
captain change, some
Amen.
Muratism sprinkled through it.
Mm,
Yeah, I think maybe let's just go through the team position for position, and then we can get into it. Number one, Vessels. Two, Krobler. Three, Thomas Dutoy. Already a lot to talk about in that new front row.
yeah.
Murat is there, captain. Nokia is there. Van Staden, Peter Steffen,
Mm,
Elric Lowe make the new loose trio. We've got Faf Light. Sasha retains his place, one of the few to retain his place.
yeah.
Mapimpi. We've got Armin Creel, center combo. Colby also retains his place, and we've got Farsi.
Mm, yeah.
Then moving further
Uh,
down, yeah, let's get the
okay.
bench
Good,
first.
good,
Let's
good.
get the
No.
bench first because
Yeah.
this one, there's plenty of names. There's plenty of. So we've got Marks, Ox, Koch, Etzebeth, Quacker Smith, Williams with the two fly halves on the bench,
Mm,
Libbok and Pollard.
Pollard.
It's a lot. Normally we just say, no, this guy was in for this guy. This guy was.
Yeah.
Now we have to read it name for name because there are 10 changes. How are you feeling about the team?
Okay. The bench. Let's go. I'm going to go backwards. The bench. What an insurance policy. That's all I'm going to say. This is going to be one of the biggest insurance policies that any rugby team has got, you know. So you
Yeah.
can't really, bench is solid, good insurance. Okay. Let's get
But
that
the
out the
balance,
way.
the balance of the bench, I just want to go into that.
Yeah.
On the bench, you've got two fly halves, one lock, one loose forward. Is it the
Yeah.
right balance? That's all I want to know. That's the only problem I have with it.
For me, I think maybe they've seen something in Australia that they thought, look, no, we can do this. You know what I mean? They said, no, we can do this. Let's do it. It feels experimental in a way, in the sense
Yes.
that maybe some of our own people's calls, are being heeded, to have Libbok, Pollard, session, or one team. I'm thinking maybe that Grant Williams, okay, we know at scrum off. I would have thought maybe a start, but okay, Faflight gets the start. Kwacha, I think, look, his best place is on the bench because when he comes on, he does good things. When he starts, it's not so good all the time. He's more consistent off the bench than he is as a starter. Let's put that there. It's a bit, look, yeah, you could say I don't think it's so much balance. You got Etzebeth, Koch, front row. Okay, we know
Yeah.
it's always been replacement front row, but then only having one lock on the bench, yeah, it's dicey. But at the same time, you got Peter Steff that can shift in and go into to lock should the need be there. So yeah, in a sense, when you look at it again, it's not that bad, although it's not completely balanced in that sense. And then yeah, the two fly halves on the bench. It'll be interesting to see who goes where. I think probably we might see Pollard again at 12, coming on at 12, and then maybe Libbok will get another run there at 10, to finish them off. But yeah, the balance not quite there, but in terms of ability and what potentially could happen if it does fall the Springboks way,
Yeah.
I think it will work out in the sense of the bench. That's just my opinion in that regard.
Starting lineup, How are you feeling about it? Do you want to go forwards first, backs first?
No, look, we'll go forwards first. You see, Matanzima's understudy is there. This guy, they say they've been watching him since under 16. So,
Yeah.
it's another one of those escorts, to the red carpet or to the green carpet in this instance. Yeah, I won't lie. I didn't see that one coming with Jan-Hendrik Wessels getting the spot there.
I saw it coming because he
Yeah.
was doing press. Him and Mapimpi were doing press. So if these guys
Okay.
do press,
Yeah.
they're gonna feature in one way or the other. You wouldn't necessarily send a guy that you're not really gonna play. Like
To
you
be
said,
press, yeah.
another one that they'll say player of national interest, so on and so forth. He's been put to the front of the line.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
yes.
That's all that's happened. And
Yes.
it's he struggles
It's
to find
okay.
his feet at hooker. We're just saying what it is. He struggles to find his feet at hooker. He struggles to find his feet at prop. I don't know. He's here now. We just have to deal with what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if he is good enough to scrum at test level. We will see. He's got
We'll see.
Thomas Tutoy there to help him. Krobby's not so much. I don't think Krobby's is one of the better scrummaging hookers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we will be under pressure in that aspect. But we've seen how Sasha also got brought to the front. He's delivered, so we'll see if he delivers. I know a lot of people talk about his sort of reaction time and speed in play to say, no, he's the first guy to the ruck. He's this, he's that. He's a willing runner. To me, those are added extras to the thing that you must be able to scrum at this level first.
Yeah, the core responsibility is scrummaging, so let's see. Like we said last week with Sasha, well, the proof is going to be in the pudding. Let's see. Jan-Hendrik Wessels, he's there now, like you said. Let's give him a shout. Hobla, I think, again, a deserved another opportunity for him. Toy, look, we haven't seen much of him in terms of Springbok rugby. Look, and I think Premiership as well. Not a lot of people have seen much of him. So, but he's been there, done that. Hopefully he can, show that he's been there, done that.
Yeah, and he is on good form at the moment. So
yeah,
we'll see if that translates.
Then where I think we need to see something is in the lock pairing. Because look, we know Nokia is more of a line-out specialist, so we understand that selection. I think we also spoke about it last week with him coming in there. Murat has got to bring that in for Survive. He's got to, I think, as much as he's also one of those, he's also got to be lumped into the Blue Light Brigade crew. He's one of those that's also been put in there, although he may have been there much longer, and they've been looking at him for a longer time. But
in the sense that Peter Steff was the captain for parts of the game last week. Now he's been named straight out captain. You've had other guys here that have captained the box in terms of taking over when Kolisi's gone off, or just been the captain from the start. So in that way, he has been pushed to the forefront again. It's just one of those things. He's there. We'll see how he deals with it. Nokia again, like Robbie's a bit light. His ball carrying. We'll see how those things go, because go forward ball was one of the key aspects in this game that we had this past weekend, but we'll get into that. So yeah, I think that's just the main concerns with him in him being a bit lightweight, and can Murat also bring that physicality? And then it's a new loose trio.
Look, loose trios, all guys, look, Peter Steff been there, done that. We know what he's got. Marco van Staden, he hasn't had too many starts to his name, so hopefully he can take that opportunity. We know what Eskom brings. We hope he can just be on song. And then Albert Low, I think I just see him growing from strength to strength. In the second test, second start. he looks like, he's really putting down a claim for that number 8 jersey, making it just going to be tough for when some guys like Jasper Visa come back from their their bans and things like that. But yeah, loose trio, not too worried about. I think it's balanced enough. You've got an out and out guy, but that's a feature there in Van Staden. Peter Steph can do those carries in the wide channels and also do the hard work, up close. It's the same with Albrecht Low as well, in that respect. Maybe not so much out wide, but maybe closer. But yeah, in terms of the loose trio, not too worried. It's just a little bit of concern in the locking department in terms of that impact, that enforcer ability and things like that in the carries. And then also, as you said, that's with the pack, but we'll see, So yeah, that's where we're at. Then, you got Faf Light there, just also leapfrogging, There's
That one I don't know. I think with him, it's a bit different in terms of he was a starter. I think he's more in the Murat type of jump where he was starting for the Lions. He was on good form.
Yeah,
To jump
I'll give
over
him that.
Williams, I think Williams is suffering from the same thing as Kwagga in terms of bench impact and
It's just
so
too
on.
good off the bench.
That's the role that they're looking at him. That's what it seems like. But for me, I wouldn't say he jumped. I wouldn't say he jumped as much, but
No, he
maybe
jumped,
he's.
Curtis. No, he jumped. No, he jumped. No, this guy he jumped there. No,
Okay, he jumped.
Yep.
Okay, he jumped. He jumped. Okay, I'll give it to you. He jumped. He jumped. And we've got Sasha there. He no complaints from me. No complaints from me.
Look.
I think he'll push on as well as he can in terms of the other changes around him. And what do you think about the rest of the backline?
The rest of the backline, I think it's interesting to see Mapimpi coming in. I don't know, maybe is Orense injured or something, but yeah, just it's interesting to see him coming in. I think maybe Dialende, maybe there's an injury cloud probably around him because I think
I haven't heard anything about.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe, because he came off right for Pollard came on for him, so then Jesse Creel and Colby more continuity, and I think look, they really, especially in recent times and all the games that they've played recently, they haven't let the jersey down. So yeah, more continuity there, and I think it's good in that aspect because of the potential attacking threat of Australia should they be able to generate the type of ball that they want. And then I'm glad to see Fassi back because this is what I was calling for last week, and say I would have liked to see him there at 15. Look, he's there with Sasha. It's probably a preview into what the future will look like, in that respect. So yeah, I'm not too crestfallen about the backs. I think everybody that's in there solid enough. It's all going to be, again, as always with every rugby game, up front. These guys show up, then I think we've got the guys to cut them up. I'm at 12. We haven't seen him at test level at 12. I think that'll be interesting to see his decision making and how they use him, in terms of the carries, or if maybe they're going to be using 13 as the first one up, to carry it up, get the meters, and then maybe with his creativity outside, we'll see that. But all around, to be fair, when you're looking at it all around with the backline, solid backline, the only sort of little question marks is in the pack, really, because you've got the starting pack, because you've got the insurance policy on the bench. That's just my feeling about it.
I'm sure they also they've played the scenarios in their mind of if this happens, if we do fall into a bit of a hole, this is how we're going to integrate these guys. We're going to put Etzebeth here. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. So I'm sure that's why they've done it. But if we take a wider view of it, to me, there's two problems. The first one, do we actually want to win this tournament, and is that a priority? Because the All Blacks lost. We won. We're in a good position. It's now time to put our foot on their chest, bury this tour, get the win, we're in a great place to win the whole tournament.
No.
But it seems what they're prioritizing is getting guys exposure, getting guys used to playing in the box. Where the first game you were kind of doing that with Sasha. I think we overestimated how good the Australia were going to be, and we thought it's going to be a harder test than what it was.
I thought so too.
I did.
I thought so. I thought so.
Maybe this is the time where before we used to do this against Argentina, but maybe they've identified that Australia are the weakest team in this tournament. And if we want to experiment, lead guys in, we were doing it in Buenos Aires. Now we're doing it in Australia. So maybe that is the change that they've identified, and they said it's rougher down there. Maybe we'll send the more experienced guys down there.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the change. But the other flip side of it is, do we want to win this tournament, and is it a priority? Or are you prioritizing the next World Cup? Because as South African fans, we want the trophy. We want to win. This is the tournament for us. You know, I know World Cups are nice. But Tri-Nations Rugby Championship, it's something that we've always wanted.
That's a sweet one, man. That's so true, Quarters. You know, that's the first thing that I thought, you know, when I saw this team. I saw it a bit late in the afternoon, you know, and my first thing was, are they really trying to win this tournament? You know, because like you said, you know, you got the first win, bonus point, you know, the other guys, they slipped up on the other side, you know. This is the most opportune moment for the Springbok team to continue building their dynasty and actually win the rugby championship outright. I think the last time we won it was 2019, I think. Yeah, it was 2019 World Cup.
I don't even remember. It's a long time.
Yeah, I think it was. 2019 World Cup where, you know, it wasn't a full rugby championship fixture list. You know, I think they only played one game against all the other teams. But yeah, it's the first thing that you thought, okay, are these guys really trying to win this thing, or you know, is it experimental phase, you know? And for me, it's a risk. It's a gamble. It definitely is a gamble with all the 10 changes that you're making, you know, because you're risking that continuity, that fluency in play as well that we saw in this past game, especially in the first half.
That's where I want to go with my second point. A wider view of this game is there's no opportunity to build on what we've just done. We're going to get into the game and we're going to talk about all the things that they did right, all the things that they did wrong. There's opportunity to build on those things, create continuity, and sharpen and fine-tune those things. By making all these changes, basically, it's gone. You can't really build on it too much. And it's tough for the guys coming in, and it's tough for the guys that are staying. You know, to meet those guys and to form this team. So I'm expecting a lot of knock-ons, a lot of less solid defense, a lot of, you know, that kind of a thing, which comes with as many changes as have been made.
Okay. From defense, just to pick up on that, defensively, I think we should be okay, you know, because you've got Armand and Creel there in the midfield. You know, so I think they should be able to marshal things a bit better, you know, because of the experience and, you know, again, you know, the experienced guys. It's just up front. That's my concern. It's just up front, you know, with the pillars, depending on who the Aussies put out, you know, if they put out a guy like Tate McDermott, we know he likes to snipe around there, you know, somebody can get caught napping because of not being used to the system. He's still, you know, adjusting to, okay, now I'm playing with Morat, you know, as opposed to, you know, it's Etzebeth and, you know, somebody else. You know what I mean? And especially the tight five, the only real guy in the tight five that's the most experienced is Thomas du Toit, you know, and that's what brings that bigger question, you know, is to say, you know, are you sure? You know, like, are you really sure about this? You know, because on the other side, on the flip side of it is, you know, had they gone with continuity and had all these guys that they've made changes bringing to the starting lineup, had they been on the bench, you know, do you have enough faith and belief in these guys that, you know, should hit the fan, bringing these guys on, will they be able to make a difference? And it's a catch-22 because, if the game is too far gone by the time you want to bring on your bench that's experienced and, you're ensuring you're going to bring.
This one, if we start smelling a deficit and it starts getting to 5 points, 10 points, then they've
Yeah,
got to make the changes. They
they've
can't
got
let
to.
it, yeah, they can't
They
let
can't
it
leave it.
go too
Yeah.
deep.
You know what I mean? So it's that balancing act. So I think that's where the balance would need to be is around, the game flow, gameplay, and
Yeah,
when to inject guys in. I think that's going to be the test, not so much for the players, but more for the coaching staff, as
yeah.
much as it is for the players, but more for the coaching staff in how they make their decisions and who they bring on, But yeah, look, based on last weekend, this should be another positive result for
Let's
South Africa.
let's talk
But
about last weekend.
but
Let's dig deeper into this game
mhm,
and
mhm.
talk some just overall and then moments throughout the game. The way it
Yeah.
started was the Sasha game, basically. They've given him the keys to drive now.
Yeah.
Coming into the game, the only other thing was RG last minute pull out there. And
RG.
shame, yeah,
I
injury.
RG is always just injured all the time. Like he must go get himself right, because we want to see him play. Not this thing of it's like a teaser, man. Where he's there, he's not gonna play, but I digress.
Yeah, so from the start, I think we could see how physical the Boks were. They've
Yeah.
got the go forward. Another thing that we could see from the start was the intent on innovation. We saw Colby at 9,
Mm,
I think
yeah.
from the first scrum. Now
Yeah, it
they were
was.
using Cobus Reinach as a strike runner. The scrum was too good. We didn't even get to see the plan move.
Yeah.
So that goes back to the first point of how physical they were and how good they were from the start. They
Mm-hmm.
had the go forward. They had territory the whole of the first half.
Yeah, jeez.
We were playing
When
them half
lost.
field basically,
Yeah.
and Australia basically outclassed, I think, for large parts of the game. And
90%.
yeah, for me, they couldn't live at the breakdown. Besides that,
Mm,
I think we also had certain lapses of concentration, and the game just disintegrated around the 65-minute mark.
mm,
The kinds of things that started happening there. There was this yellow cards, Colby playing hooker. But up until that point, I think we managed it well. I think my concerns about Sasha's decision making and how we want to play and him as a fly half, I think he answered those questions excellently. I think he was great. He mixed up his play. He made the right decisions. I think Willie helped him
mm,
there.
mm.
Um, yeah, I'm impressed. And I think the biggest thing for me is everybody looked like they knew what they were doing, which
Yeah.
sounds like something that's simple. But when you're trying to play this game with width in attack
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
trying to play
Yeah.
this expansive game, decision making has to be correct.
Yeah.
If it's not correct, then the whole game plan falls apart. You've got to
Yeah.
have faith in your loose forwards to take the ball to the line and then get that pass behind the guy to the back line.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it was impressive seeing like a guy like Eric Lowe come in and take that chance and do those kinds of things, right? Where maybe a Ruiz would have just taken it up. Said, in this play, I'm supposed to pass, but let me
But
just
I'm
go.
going. I'm
Yeah.
going.
So that goes to my point of saying that the most impressive thing was that guys knew what they were supposed to do and they were executing on that.
Yes. Yeah. It is almost a clinical performance. It is near clinical in the sense that, especially first line out try, what a way to start a tour, what a way to start a tournament. So a lot of things that they did do right, a lot of things to be impressed about in terms of the Boks, what they were dishing up, And again, at the same time, you're only as good as your opposition allows you to be,
Yeah.
and let's be honest, like we said, we expected a tougher Aussie test. They were disappointing. I think
Yeah.
it's been I think we've seen poor Australian performances, but this ranks right up there with one of the poorest showings from Australia, you know. So I'm not too I'm not too sure exactly in terms of the context, in terms of where exactly, you know, we are. I don't wanna, you know, and it goes back to the selection for this second test, you know, is that you don't wanna sort of hype yourself up too much and say, oh, look, you know, based on last week, you know, yes, you're only as good as your last game, but based on last week, you know, we should do something again with these guys, you know. But yeah, overall, you know, Sasha, look, he did well. For me, you know, I had my issues with the blue light brigade, you know, the escort to the top, but you know, I can see. You know, we said about the Pollard thing, you know, that he's got that thing about him. We saw it. Yeah, you know, he deserves to be there. Yes, you know, he's a quality player. Cool. You know, and then, you know, everybody else, and just in terms of, like you said, in terms of execution, the game plan, how they went about their business, especially in the first half. I'll focus more on the first half because that's where a lot of the action happened, you know. And for me, that's as a Bok fan, that's what you want to see, you know, complete and utter dominance. Although, you know, there's still that conversion rate issue, you know, when getting into the 22 and converting, you know.
That is where I will bring up the second half, though. That's the only positive for me for the second half, is that when we were on defense, we got a turnover, and then we're in their 22 and we score. And then they kick off, and then we 1-2-3 phase, and then we score. So twice in the second half, I will say that was a much improved performance in terms of 22 entries, because it was the first one where Peter Steph, when they said, do you want the line out or do you want the scrum?
Where my scrum at? Where's the scrum? Where's the scrum?
You know? Previously we had been defending on that, and it was, you know, it was a counter attack 1-2 phase, and we're there.
Yeah.
The next one was the kickoff from that try. We played a bit of hot potato, draw the forwards in, and then we get the ball wide. Creel caught them over tracking, and for me, those are two examples of where the 22 entry, we did improve on that.
Yeah, look, we did improve, although I felt, for me, especially in the first half, if you look at that scoreline, quarters 33-7, it could have been worse. You know, it deserved they deserved more, you know, than that. But look, we'll take the bonus point, yes. And there's plenty positives. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty positives to take out of it, you know, out of that performance. Although you just want to see that complete package, which is, look, in a dreamer's world, yes, you want to see the complete package, but you're not going to see that, you know, because the other team is definitely going to fight, you know, especially when they're at home. But yeah, just those little, you know, the times where they do make those entries and they don't convert, those sort of opportunities for me is, there's moments where they had Australia on the rack and they didn't execute, they didn't finish, you know. Granted, the score at the end of the day, you know, scoreboard, but there's still those little things. There's a lot of areas where they can improve, you know, and do better, because, you know, that's what you want.
Yeah, to go to those points where I think we can tidy up the performance. For me, we did have the territory, but I think our kicking game could have been better. Yes. Like you said, it's also a function of our opposition. I feel like if we had better opposition, our kicking game wouldn't have gone as well as it did, and we might not have been so dominant in territory. Tidy up things like Willie Leroux holding on to a pass that should have gone. Tidy up things like Kobus Reinach, loose passes and turnovers. It's those it's not the bigger things, it's the smaller things that, and we would have had a chance to build on it, but I think it's the smaller things that we need to sort out. And I think lineouts as well didn't go to plan as much, because, you know, Impunambi went off, Marks came on, he was good for some, not good for others. So it's more of a tidy up job than anything else. You know, there's no real major issues.
There isn't. There isn't. You'd be nitpicking, you know, if you're trying to, you know, now, because you're never going to get a complete 100% performance, unless maybe it happens this weekend or which I don't see, but yeah, it's just a matter of them tidying it up. And hopefully we can get the result, But at the end of the day, this past game showed us that the Bok evolution is well on track in that sense. At this moment, they're showing that they are a cut above the other Southern Hemisphere teams. I'll go out on a limb and say that, is the Northern Hemisphere the Northern Hemisphere glow looks good on us. You know what I mean? Because these guys, they just don't know. You could see, man, the Australians were a bit confused, with what they were facing. To be fair, so that's one of the things, some of the things to take out of this past weekend, is that from a Bok rugby, SA rugby point of view, is yes, we're in a good place. That's number one, and only we can mess it up, and the other thing is I like there's a little nuance, where our game plan is mostly based on fucking teams up physically, and yes, the physicality is there, but there's what we spoke about last week, the shifting of the ball from contact situations, and not always engaging in the contact, but moving the ball. You're starting to see that those little ABCs that maybe a guy like Tony Brown has sort of introduced in that respect of moving the ball away from contact situations. So there's that, and like I said, there's a lot to like, a lot of positives from this past weekend. It's a matter of, can they back it up? Because with the previous Springbok game plan that we used to see, of just the physicality, is just scrum, line out, and then we're bashing down the door. It's difficult for teams to do that. For a team to do that 2 weeks in a row, and we saw that in the Island series. Week 1 they were good, week 2 not so good. And they got found out, and not so good meaning they were off probably by like 2 to 5%. And with these changes, we're probably expecting another 2 to 5% maybe drop, but I think because of where Australia are at, we should be able to get the result. But
I'm not as confident as you are in getting the results. I'm not too sure. I think we've made too many changes, and if you look at sort of the last quarter of that game where it disintegrated, Pollard's cameo wasn't good. You've got Colby taking drops. You've got 3 yellow cards. Pollard also, his restart went dead. It's the game totally fell apart, and that's with the guys that are meant to be there. So now to have the guys that aren't really meant to be there, if the game goes into that kind of a turmoil, I don't know if they'll be able to keep the score down like we kept the score down this past week. So I don't know if they'll have that first half performance, and then I don't know if they'll be able to control that kind of a chaos. So I'm not
control the game the way that they did.
So even when we've got 3 yellow cards, we still keep them to 1 score throughout the whole game. So I'm not too sure we'll be able to do that. I will be optimistic and I will hope for the best.
I believe.
I won't lie. I don't believe.
After the first 40, I believe, because I think it'll be a tighter first half than because of all the changes. I think it'll be a tighter first half. But after the first 40, I believe, they can. And considering that the other thing is, if the discipline or the interpretation of what is discipline and ill discipline, because that's one thing that we have to also acknowledge, is that if the referee interprets and his team on that day, they interpret something in a different way, it can impact the game completely, Just consider that.
No, I think, I don't know. I don't think that we'll make it. I think this we'll be looking back at this game, and we're gonna start to raise a lot of questions about.
Don't say that.
Rassi's got the money in the bank with us. He can, he can make these kinds of decisions with Wessels
Yeah.
and Feinberg, and he can
We
do
eating
all
out
of
his
these
hand, bro.
things.
We eating out his hand. The whole
Yes,
of us
but
is eating out his
this
hand
is
right
the
now.
game. I believe that
We
this is
will
the
turn on
game
him. We'll turn on
where
him.
that's what I think is gonna happen. I think that's what's gonna happen. I don't want it to happen. I don't want it
No,
to happen.
no.
Obviously, I'll be supporting the team, but I think that this is the moment where it is gonna happen, unfortunately. But
Kudus, don't say
nonetheless,
that, man. No, don't
nonetheless, we
say
will be
that.
supporting the boys.
No, don't say that, man. Now you're making my heart skip a beat there to think, okay, is it? Yeah, but I hear what you're saying, and yes, you have to approach it with caution.
Yeah.
You don't want to underestimate a team in their own backyard, and then you make yeah, yeah. I hear you, valid. But I still believe. I'll keep the belief. I'll take the belief home today.
Any closing remarks from you, Chris?
Wait, before we close off, the magic of the Currie Cup. Guys, this is where we get to see our
Yeah.
future guys. Good weekend of Currie Cup this past weekend. So yeah, but again, closing off box, they got to back it up. Every time after the first test win, it's always about backing it up. So yeah, hopefully they can do that, and I believe. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, I also I'll put in some belief. I think that's my closing
No,
remark is
Betway.
yeah, I might put
Even that's a bet. Bring them
yeah,
out and pay me and Willem. So let's bring them out.
yeah, I
Let's bring
think
them out this
I'll be
weekend.
checking the odds with all the changes, but I think that's it from us, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, we are. We are.